Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. The Court of Appeals sitting in Sokoto has nullified the primary of the All Progressives Congress APC for the governorship election in Zamfara State. In the lead judgment delivered by Justice Tom Yakubu, the court set aside the decision of the Zamfara State High Court, which allowed the APC to field a candidate for the governorship election in the state. Justice Yakubu held that the decision of the State High Court was fraught with error. According to the appellate court, the trial court failed to carry out a proper evaluation of the evidence before arriving at a decision. The verdict of the court, led by Justice Tom Yakubu, has now nullified the candidacy of candidates produced in the primaries. A federal high court sitting in Bauchi State has given INEC permission to conclude, collate and announce the governorship election result from Tafawa Balewa local government area in Bauchi State. Well, this follows the dismissal of a suit filed by the APC and the incumbent state governor challenging INEC's decision to continue the exercise in the state. In his ruling, Justice Inyang Eko dismissed the suit on grounds that the court lacked jurisdiction on the case. Justice Eko held that it was more appropriate to allow the Election Petition Tribunal to hear the complaints of the plaintiff, since the tribunal would have a broader jurisdiction to hear the complaint. The ruling also set aside an earlier order by the court which stopped the collation of the results in Bauchi State. A post-election survey shows that no fewer than 174 lives were lost, while properties worth millions of naira were destroyed during the 2019 polls in Nigeria. Details of the survey, conducted by the National Human Rights Commission in concert with Human Rights Advancement, Development and Advocacy Center, was released on Monday in Abuja. Anetta Felix tells us more.
The report is an analysis of the 2019 general elections. It is structured into 13 chapters and seeks to underscore the interplay between the exercise of franchise and ensuring that the will of citizens counts at elections. It also highlights election violence which marked the 2019 polls.
Findings sourced from our database indicates that destruction of properties ranks highest with about 37% of the total computed during both elections, followed by injuries, which accounted for 25%. Political-related deaths accounted for 19%. Politically motivated killings accounted for 13%. And extrajudicial killings accounted for 6%. The report database shows that security forces were victims in 10% of the cases, while they were allegedly perpetrators in 90% of the cases involving them.
Other speakers at the launch condemned political parties for failing to restrain their supporters from certain dastardly acts.
We also need to look at the role of the political parties. And we look at, in the database, parties that were named allegedly. And you could see the two major political parties coming up as victims, but as well as alleged perpetrators. The only two parties that came up in our database as alleged perpetrators is APM and AA. No other political parties, apart from those four, came up in our database. And if you look at the human rights violation and human rights abuse section of the report, and you could see that 90% of all the total incidents is about political parties, their supporters, and their sympathizers. So it's really not the police or the military that are just committing this kind of violence. Majority of them is being committed by the political parties that are killing each other. And we need to do something about it.
The next general elections is in 2023, and the report highlights the need for electoral justice and improving human rights standards in Nigeria's elections.
President Muhammadu Buhari has received the report of the Technical Advisory Committee on the implementation of the National Minimum Wage. The committee set up on January 9 was tasked to recommend modalities for the implementation of the new minimum wage to manage inflationary impact and job security. Speaking after receiving the report, President Buhari and the Minister of Budget and National Planning Udo Doma, gave assurance of reviewing the report expeditiously. The meeting came 1 week after the Senate approved 30,000 minimum wage for federal and state workers across the country.
I am very pleased that the committee took on this important national assignment with all seriousness. Let me thank the chairman, Mr. Bismarck Rani, and all the committee members most sincerely for your patriotism, your hard work, commitment, and sacrifices. I understand that you have worked tirelessly to ensure that you deliver the report before we receive the minimum wage bill from the National Assembly. Let me also thank the Honorable Minister of Budget and National Planning for coordinating the work of the committee.
We received the report today, and so we will study the report, but I'm sure that there will be recommendations there that will be helpful to us in terms of making sure there's a seamless implementation of the new minimum wage whenever it is passed into law.
The All Progressives Congress has written a petition to the Nigeria Police Force demanding a probe into how the PDP accessed election results on INEC server. The PDP, in a petition filed before the Presidential Election Tribunal, had claimed that information gotten from the server of the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC showed that its candidate Atiku Abubakar won the February 2019 election with a margin of 1.6 million votes. While reacting to this claim, spokesperson of the APC Presidential Campaign, Kantu, Festus Kayamo, urged the police to invite, interrogate, and investigate the leadership of the PDP. He added that it is clear that some criminally minded PDP operators have access to INEC server and will be able to smuggle in fake results into that server. The deputy governorship candidate of the African Action Congress, Akpo Ye, has defected to the People's Democratic Party. Ye, in a letter addressed to INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakubu, announced his resignation from the AAC and his defection to the PDP. He explained that he took the decision as a result of the alleged hijack of the party's structure by a faction of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State. The Kaduna State High Court has indefinitely adjourned the trial of the leader of Islamic movement in Nigeria, Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, and his wife, Zinat. The prosecuting counsel, Darius Bayero, explained that the trial was postponed because the trial judge, Justice Gideon Gudafa, was appointed as a member of the Election Petition Tribunal in Yobe State. However, the defending counsel, Femi Falana, claimed that their absence was due to their deteriorating health conditions. IMN spokesperson Ibrahim Musa is condemning the judicial system over the detention of El-Zakzaky since 2015.
The election has gone, and they are saying they will not sit to look into the issue of his health. Even the last sittings, the judge was saying that they should bring a particulars document from the doctors that show that they cannot handle the case of the sheikh, his health case in Nigeria, so that he will look into it. But on arrival at the court today, he couldn't even look into the paper. He just says the lawyer of the government, of the side of the government, says they should postpone the case till further notice because the judge is nominated among the tribunal for election, the election tribunal, and he accepted and he postponed it till further notice. So you can see how they handle the issue of human life in this country. They don't regard human life in any case in this country. This sheikh is seriously sick. His wife now cannot use her own leg to walk. She's using wheelchair in the custody where they are keeping. And the doctors has been warning these authorities that they should allow these people abroad for proper medication. They refuse. Now this is what they are doing. So we are out to let the masses know that this is what is happening. Muhammadu Buhari, this administration has no regard for human life. That is why the killing everywhere is going on and the government is doing nothing about it.
The Nigeria Police Force has appointed a commissioner to head its operations against human trafficking and smuggling. Police Inspector General Mohammed Adamu, speaking at the opening of the International Police Workshop on Countering Trafficking, said the upgrade on the anti-human trafficking section of the force was born out of the critical national security and developmental implication of the scourge.
Recently, the Nigerian police raised the bar by upgrading the anti-human trafficking section of the force with the appointment of a commissioner of police to head the section. In addition to this, the police have over the years remained faithful to the interagency framework of seconding police officers to NAPTIC to support and enhance their investigative and operational capacities towards attending their anti-human trafficking mandate. I can assure that this initiative shall be sustained under my leadership as the Inspector General of Police. We continue to deploy our unique intelligence and operational assets and draw on my strong network with Interpol to support this initiative, just as I will also engage with international agencies and foreign development partners towards achieving the goal of addressing the transnational crime of human trafficking and migrant smuggling.
You're still watching news now on TV360 Nigeria. We'll bring you more stories after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, let's now join Oyin Adekunle for the latest in business. Hello, Oyin.
Hi, Fidelia.
So we know unemployment is a major issue in Nigeria, with statistics showing that the rate has gone as high as about 23%. But efforts have been made by the government and other sectors to check this trend. What can you tell us about this, Oyin?
Yes, you're very correct, Fidelia. Now, let's start with this news about the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, and the Nigeria Liquefied and Natural Gas Limited have signed the Nigerian Content Plan, NCP, for the NLNG Train 7 project. The agreement is expected to bring about 10,000 jobs by utilizing Nigeria's huge natural gas reserves. NCDMB's Executive Secretary, Simbi Kesiye Wabote, and the Managing Director of NLNG, Tony Atta, signed the NCP in Abuja over the weekend. The ceremony was witnessed by senior officials of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Shell, Total, and Eni. Oil prices slipped on Monday with concerns of a sharp economic slowdown outweighing supply disruptions from OPEC's production cutbacks and from U.S. sanctions on Iran and Venezuela. Brent crude oil futures were at $66.73 per barrel, down 30 cents, while U.S. crude futures were at 58.69 per barrel, down 35 cents. Both crude oil price benchmarks have slumped by almost 3% since last week, hitting their highest since November 2018. Concerns about a potential U.S. recession emerged on Friday after cautious remarks by the U.S. Federal Reserve caused 10-year Treasury yields to slip below the 3-month rate for the first time since 2007. Stock market review is up next right after this break. Please stay tuned. The Nigerian Stock Exchange kicked off this week on a bearish note as the all-share index closed at 31.042 basis points, down 0.31%, eroding the gains the market managed to record in its last trading session. Similarly, the market capitalization went down to close at 11.576 trillion naira. The downturn can be attributed to the losses incurred by large capitalized stocks like Mobil and Nestle. We also see that Dangote Cement PLC, which was one of the best performing stocks as at the last trading, lost 0.63% to close at 1 naira and 2 kobo. And also, Nascan Allied Industries PLC has also maintained its spot on the losers chart, this time with a further decline of 1 naira, equivalent to 5%. Moving on to the top gainers chart, market breadth, however, remained positive, I must say, with 22 gainers versus 19 losers. Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC recorded the highest price gain of 6.59%, followed by Red Starex. And of course, Red Starex gained 10% to close at 5 naira 5 kobo. Stocks of Union Bank of Nigeria PLC also appreciated, while fourth on the gainers table is University Press PLC, recording 8.11% gain. In summary, a total of 168.721 million shares valued at 3.751 billion naira exchange hands in 3,048 deals. Moving on to the larger scale, we see that sell-offs are gripping many stock markets amid fears of global economic slowdown. FTSE is down by 0.42%. Dow Jones is also following the same trend with 0.19% drop. Nikkei also showed a bearish trend with a 3.01% drop, which is actually its steepest performance in the last 3 months, as investors in Japan are moving into bonds and other assets considered to be safe. So that's all on the business segment of the news. It's back to you, Fidelia.
Well, thank you so much, Oyin, for that review of the stock market. It seems investors' confidence remain quite bearish, I would say, because the stock market recorded, it closed with a gain on Friday. That's after falling for the rest of the week, and it has begun trading for this week in the reds. Let's hope for better days for investors.
It's worrisome, but of course we keep our fingers crossed for hopeful days ahead.
Indeed, let's keep our fingers crossed. Well, we'll bring you more stories from the foreign and sports scene after this short break. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country. Dalali, my business has been going down. I need your help.
Bawahala. I will show you the formula. I use some bad chemical which I mix, so produce the drugs which gives me up to 4 times profit. Imagine, pa.
So you are one of the people that is killing millions and millions of Nigerians in this country. Dalabi, was it not you last 2 months that was complaining about the fuel scarcity in this country, that the government is corrupt?
Have I killed anybody in your family?
You don't have to kill any of my family members directly. Every Nigerian you kill is my family. Selling of fake drugs, expired drugs, putting drugs in wrong packet, all that are acts of corruption. This is corruption, not in my country. CIA.
Me? Fake drug? Now corruption? Allah care.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
The number of cases in an Ebola outbreak in eastern DR Congo now exceeds 1,000, with 2/3 of those infected dead. The outbreak was first recorded in North Kivu province on August 1st and then spread to neighboring Ituri province. Efforts to contain the latest outbreak, which is the 10th in DR Congo's history, have been hampered by poor security in the highly unstable east, which teems with militia groups. Its toll is the second deadliest in history of Ebola after an epidemic in Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone in 2014 and 2016 that claimed 11,308 lives. Well, medical authorities in Iran say 18 people have now died following floods that swept across many provinces in the country. The country's National Emergency Service also revealed that 74 people were injured in the incident. Iran has been facing unprecedented floods in 25 of its 31 provinces, the country's crisis management organization said. The latest flood has struck mostly west and southwest Iran and followed major flooding on March 19 in the northeast, Golestan and Mazandaran provinces, for which no official casualty toll has been issued. Well, to sport, Super Eagles head coach Gernot Rohr has confirmed that Paul Onuachu and Leon Balogun will start when Nigeria face Egypt in a friendly match on Tuesday. Nigeria will face the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations host at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba 4 days after wrapping up their qualification series with a 3-1 win over Seychelles on the same turf. Both Onuachu and Balogun started the game on the bench, with the former coming on as a second-half substitute for his senior team debut, while Rohr, however, confirmed in a press conference on Monday that both will play from the start. Nigeria and Egypt, 2 of the 24 qualified teams for the AFCON, will face off on Tuesday starting from 4 p.m. Nigerian time. Cardiff City has concluded plans to report to FIFA that the contract to sign Emiliano Sala from Nantes was not legally binding. The Welsh club is refusing to pay the 15 million transfer fee for the striker who was killed in a plane crash 2 months ago. The 28-year-old Argentine forward was killed when the small plane carrying him came down in Chanel on the 21st of January, 2 days after he completed his transfer from the French Ligue 1 side. Newspaper reports in England say Salah signed a contract with Cardiff that was rejected by the Premier League and died before a revised one could be signed, adding that there is a dispute about whether he had agreed to sign a new deal. However, Nantes have complained to FIFA and Cardiff have until April 3rd to respond. And that is on News Now. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.